All right, Team SB, it is February 15th. We are literally, it's only 28 days in this month, so we are over halfway done with February, which is freaking crazy. I cannot get over how fast this month is going, how fast this year is going. It's like mind-blowing to me. But anyway, I am just coming on because first, we have a really awesome guest speaker coming on tonight. I'm super excited for you guys to meet her. We actually do our Wednesday mastermind with Keyshawn, who you guys had the pleasure of hearing from last week together. So that's how I met her, and I will talk a little bit more about her accolades and everything in a second. But before we jump into that, I do want to just first shout out like what this team is doing on the Success Club board this month. A lot of you guys might be sitting there like in your chairs thinking like, oh, this month is like the worst. But really like the numbers are absolutely incredible. Jackie just locked in Success Club actually I think like an hour ago. And just out of my personally sponsored coaches, I have 6 coaches that are officially in Success Club. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people at 2 or 3. Like just me, just my personally sponsored coaches. That is a lot of people on Success Club or in Success Club. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them are at 3. So that means 1% and then they lock it in. That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal, guys. And I hope that you guys realize that. And I haven't had a chance yet to run my report to see deeper in the downline. But I know that from last week and seeing the board from last week, it looks really good. And the bell has been out of control, so it's been awesome. Second off, I just got off a call before this call with my diamonds. And we were talking a little bit about like team culture and just like being positive and really trying to like pump up the energy. I really want everybody to realize that just because like things are not going as fast as you would like them to be, that does not make you a freaking failure. Okay? That does not make you a failure. Just because things aren't going according to plan, because here's the thing, in entrepreneurship, nothing will ever go according to plan. And the way that my business got to where it is was by everything going actually opposite of how I originally planned it to. That's the way that this business goes. And if we sit back and we get defeated and we bring the negativity into the page and to each other, it's just going to turn into a giant train wreck. I'm going to say that right now. Not saying that this is happening, but I want to prevent it before it does. I want to make sure that everybody, you realize that we are a team that is doing incredible things right now. And I want to make sure that we keep that energy, we keep that fire. We're excited about what we do every single day. I did a live video in my PS page yesterday where I got vulnerable. And I said, I personally have a huge problem like looking at the end result instead of taking in the moment every single day and like embracing the small victories. That's just who I am. I'm so type A. It's like terrible. And I realized that is what my coaches do, which is also great and terrible at the same time because we're all so goal driven and that's so cool. Like I know that from a fact that all the one-on-one calls I do, I know that everybody has such big goals on this team, but we have to remember every single day to take in the small victories and remember that you guys are doing some really remarkable stuff. You guys are at the top of the company. That is amazing. That is amazing. So keep the fire and keep excited. I know Jessie's talk tonight is going to help us with that too. So that's all I got. So I'm going to pass it on over to her. Let me introduce her to you. So I gave you a little bit of an intro in our team page, but I want to talk a little more about that. Jessie, and like I said, she and I have met through our Wednesday talks with Keyshawn. Again, like I told you guys last week, once you hit star diamond level, you get paired up with somebody from corporate and you get these awesome calls, you get mentored by them, and it's super cool. So that's something to definitely strive for. If you're a diamond and above, make sure you get in touch with your corporate sponsor. But it's been awesome. We've had a chance to get to know each other a little bit, and I'm got to watch her grow kind of like from afar last year, which was kind of cool. Like we're both our teams are very similar. The cool thing about Jessie is she's a mom of an 8-year-old. And one of the biggest excuses, Jessie, that a lot of my teammates give me, especially our moms or people that when I'm trying to bring people into the opportunity is that they don't have the time because of kids. So I'm kind of excited to hear you talk about this. She's a mom to an 8-year-old. She's been a coach for exactly 2 years this month. She went full-time in 7 months after starting. She finished last year as a 5-star elite coach, so congratulations to you on that. That's awesome. And then she is a Success Club 5 All-Star, will be a legend as of this month. She has never missed Success Club, ever. That is like the coolest accomplishment ever to me. So without further ado, Jessie's going to be talking to us tonight about the power of your why, which again, I talked a little bit about earlier, and I said, you know what? I said, we might hear about the why a lot, but I really feel like it's something that we need to continue hearing. So Jessie, take it away. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Kelsey. And you guys, she's right. In this business, you're going to feel like a failure on some days, and you're going to think that you are doing things wrong because it's natural to, you see other people going really fast and you're like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Or why can't that be me? And you start to get down on yourself. So really try to not focus on other people's posts and where other people are at. Because if you are doing your power hour and you're being consistent with your vital behaviors, your business is going to grow. And one of the National Wake Up Calls recently, they talked about how the first year, I think it was the guy that was on the call, he talked about how the first year is really like you growing your own personal journey. So really focus on yourself. When you're feeling like you're defeated or you can't do this, I always tell my coaches, ask yourself, have you done your workout? Are you drinking your shakes consistently? Are you getting on your phone during your workouts? Because I know there's times that I used to do that. I'd be working out in the middle, and then they'd be like, get water. And I'd be like, okay, I can check messages. But you don't want to do that, because once you start doing that, then you get back into your workout and it's less and less. If you're skipping out on your personal development, you're going to start feeling it. In the beginning, it's something that you can kind of skip. And I think a lot of us in the beginning are like, oh yeah, I don't need that part. But I will tell you, it literally makes or breaks a coach, because with personal development and with your whole mindset, if your mind is already doubting yourself and you're not doing anything to pick yourself back up, then you're just going to keep feeling crappier and crappier. So when you start your journey, just really focus on your own journey. Like she said, I am a mom. I have one daughter. She's 8. And the reason I went so fast was when I initially joined Ashley Smith, who's my coach. I had found her on Instagram and I didn't know her. I was asked 4 years prior actually to start coaching and told the girl no. And I knew the girl that asked me, but I was like, no, I wasn't at a point in my life that I needed it. I didn't even research it. I think she put me in some sort of like Facebook group, but I didn't even like check it out. So that's something to think about, is always remember, people that give you no's, it might take years for them to say yes, but eventually we come around. So I ended up, saying no. 4 years passed, and I was just at a point in my life that I needed a change. I needed something completely different. I struggled with eating disorders for about 10 years. And so did all the people I hung out with. So to me, like not eating and growing up, all of that stuff was really normal, because that's what all my friends did. And I went to high school that was what everyone was doing. So I had this whole mindset like, okay, this is totally fine. Until my daughter started getting old enough that she would know, like I would sit down to eat with her and I wouldn't eat dinner or I wouldn't eat lunch. I'd just sit with her. And once she got to a point where she would tell people, my mom never eats, or someone would be like, want to go for dinner? Or do you want me to pick you up food or anything? And my daughter would be like, oh, well, my mom doesn't eat. So that's actually my huge why, was because initially when I started, I wasn't even really starting for myself as much as I was starting to be a better mom for her. Because the worst thing you can do as a parent is sit there and tell yourself that, you're not good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or, that especially for women, that already everything they're reading in magazines and TV shows and all these shows people look up to. And a lot of these girls, are so skinny, and that's the image that people are putting in your head. Like, that's the way you have to be. So for me, once it like actually kicked in and hit me that, my daughter was thinking this was the way that it needed to be, that's when I really started to be like, okay, I need to do something different. Because if I didn't make that change, she was going to grow up, and when she's older, she's going to think the same exact thing that I did for so long. So I had started an Instagram, started like working out, and I found Ashley Smith on there. And I was literally just following her journey. She, would comment on my pictures when I worked out, and I was just doing like random stuff. I used to do like Tone It Up and some of like the BBG stuff. So it was just kind of random, but I just did at home stuff because I was a mom and needed something and I wasn't comfortable in gyms. I actually hated gyms and would like never step foot in a gym. So when I found her, I was like, okay, this girl's so nice. And she just seemed like she had this awesome life. Like she wasn't, if you guys don't know who she is, she finished 8 in the company this year. But when I met her, she was like 6 months into the business. So she wasn't sharing like, oh, I'm, number 8 in the company. What she was sharing is about her goals and about her life, her current life. But she would always tie in how like she wants to be home with her kids and she's building this business and like how much better she's feeling. She was using all the stuff that she's using right now. And I know as coaches, we sometimes look up to higher up coaches and we're like, okay, well, I can't share that I'm making, like in the Millionaire Club, or I can't share that I'm making thousands and thousands of dollars because you're not. But the thing is people are going to connect with you that even if you post, you made $75 one week. That's $75 you didn't have in your bank account before. And when you share about that, that's going to inspire someone because people struggle with finances. People struggle with going to the grocery store and going to buy groceries and not having money. And to know that you're starting this business, they want to see your journey. Realistically, you don't start off making thousands and thousands of dollars. It takes time to grow like it would any other business. So you need to remember that when you're sharing is any little bit of change that's happening in your life, share that on your Facebook. Don't just say you're doing personal development and show a picture of your book, but share what you learned in your personal development that day. Something I try to always remind my coaches is they can do their personal development and share a picture of their workout and put something, maybe they, 2 sentences from what they learned in their personal development, or maybe it's a paragraph. But instead of just saying, oh, here's a book in my Shaco, now you're showing a picture of you and you're sharing about something that you're reading about. So that's going to get people like watching your stuff and looking at your stuff versus just, that book that we all, when I first started coaching, I would do that all the time, like just only share my book and I'd never talk about it. And the thing that people need to know is what's inside that book. What are you learning from that book? And when you think about your why, if your why is something that's simple in the beginning, it's going to change. And I think that people need to always reevaluate their why because every few months, you're going to be a different person. I've only been coaching it's 2 years this month. But every few months, I refocus on my why because my why has changed from what it started from. Initially, when I started, my why was completely for my daughter. It was for me to get healthy and be a better mom for her. Now I can say that my why is bigger than that. And now there's, stuff with my team and there's helping other people and the community that we have and all of that stuff's in my why now. But when I started, my why was so important to me because being a better mom for my daughter was the best thing that I could do. And that's why every single day when I didn't want to show up or when I didn't want to do my workout, I did it anyways. And I didn't know how to eat properly because I didn't eat a ton of food. So my whole thing was when I started eating, then I would gain weight. And that's what I was like so nervous about. So having portion control containers that I could use every single day and start figuring that all out was really helpful for me because then I knew I was actually eating what I should be versus trying to just, fill my plate and start eating. And through the journey, you're going to learn a ton about yourself. The more you learn about who you are as a person, the more you can grow. And people aren't looking for someone perfect. I know it's so easy to get caught up in looking at people and thinking like, I can't be like that coach. And I don't have this or that, you see all these pictures and I'm someone who is horrible at technology. I still am. Like I do my Zoom calls. You won't see tons of editing with my photos because I just don't spend time doing that. I don't typically write too much in my photos. Usually if it is, it's something simple, but you want to focus your time on your why. Why are you here? And what is it that you wanted to do? Because your why and then your purpose is going to drive you through this entire time. Your why, if it is to, help other people, then don't only focus your time on editing the crap out of a photo for 2 hours because you want to be inviting. If you, have this awesome group to run, but you're so focused on, just making that one picture perfect on Canva and you can't figure it out and you keep changing the lettering and time goes by, well, that's time that you could have spent inviting people to join you versus having that awesome graphic. I went 5-star elite with my team last year, and I will be honest, I didn't focus on, editing those photos. I focused my journey on myself, getting my stuff done, helping my team, and inviting people to the journey, because you always have to invite people. And in the beginning, your fear of inviting, that's totally normal to feel that way and be nervous to go out and invite someone. But if your why is so strong enough, then you need to write it down and have it where you see it every day. And when you wake up in the morning, read your why. Go into your day. I don't know how many of you guys work out in the morning, but I work out in the morning, so I will read my why, and I do my personal development. I do my workouts, and then I go send my invites. Because when I wake up, if I just go start inviting to people, it's literally, I use the voice thing a lot, but if I go invite, I'm going to sound so like, hey, I just rolled out of bed. Like, do you want to maybe join my challenge group? I don't want to invite someone to a challenge group when I'm just like, hey, this might be cool. You might want to join. I want to go in it when I feel like a total badass. So I want to go in it and be like, hey, I'm, so excited and I'm starting my next group. Like if you're talking, however you want to word it, but I use the voice thing and I'm so excited in it. I'm probably really loud in it too, but I get excited because that way when they get that voice thing, they know it's me and they also see the excitement in my voice. So whenever you're inviting, always make sure you do personal development and do your workout, because you want to invite when you're feeling the most confident. And at the end of the day, if you're exhausted at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and you're like, I just want to be sleeping, but I have to send these stupid invites, it's going to come out in your voice. So you want to make sure, like, be pumped before you get it. If you have to turn on music and dance before you go invite, go do that. Do some jumping jacks and get moving. Oh, yeah. Ashley says this is number 8. Sorry, I didn't even see that comment, Kelsey, until now. And you want to just know your why is so important to you that when you invite people, that hey, there's such a big purpose behind this. In the beginning, you can't tell people like, hey, join my team. I'm doing this full time, because you're probably not doing it full time yet. But what you can do is tell them your vision. What is your purpose behind why you're inviting them and why you're doing this? And then you start your groups. So having a purpose for everything you do. When you wake up in the morning, set your tone. I have my coaches write down in the morning what their purpose is in a little notebook so that they are seeing it every single day and they know. So they wake up, they write their purpose down, and then they start whatever they're going to do. Some of them don't work out right away because they have jobs or whatever. But the reason I have them do that is because knowing what your purpose is for that day, whether you're going to focus on inviting, whether you're going to just focus on being kind to people, at the grocery store, acknowledging people, all of those little things are going to change your day. If you need to focus on, maybe you were on your phone too much one day and the next day you're like, hey, I need to stay on my phone less. Write that down as your purpose and give yourself a purpose for waking up and what you need to accomplish that day. Because as you accomplish it, you're going to feel better and better, like you're more in control now because you know where you need to improve. And when we talk about purpose, everything you do has to have a purpose. While power hours are awesome and they are so effective, you guys all need to be doing them. But something that you want to do with your power hour, if you know you're going to be sitting at the dentist for 20 minutes, you're going to get there early and have extra time because you always do, well then maybe mark off in your calendar or however you track it that, hey, I'm going to do my messaging back during that. Or maybe you're going to invite during that time. But have a purpose for what you're doing that day, because maybe it doesn't make sense to do your whole power hour. Maybe your kids are going to be at gymnastics and you're going to be sitting and watching them, and that's a time that you'll also be able to do whatever in your business. And if you have a purpose set up, then you're always leading into everything and where to go. Same with your challenge groups. When we run challenge groups, and well, first when we go for Success Club, obviously Success Club is huge and it's awesome that so many of you guys are hitting it. When I initially started, I was told hit Success Club. So if you want to grow your business, hit Success Club. And I was like, okay, well, that's what I have to do. And I started hitting it every month. But I will say there's months that I was literally up until like midnight, the last second up, but I wouldn't give up. Like I just kept inviting, because no matter how many no's I got, even if it took 300 no's, my why was so important. I wanted to be home with my daughter. And for me, at the time, I was living in Illinois and my boyfriend lives in South Carolina, or my fiance lives in South Carolina. But we wanted to move out here, and I didn't know anyone, and I am that crazy mom who won't leave her daughter with anyone except family. So moving away from family, I had to be able to be home with her so that I could get her after school, because she gets out at 2 o'clock. I wanted to be able to take her to school, and I wasn't going to know anyone. And at the time, my fiance was working nights. So I basically was going to be doing everything by myself. And if I didn't make this business full time, I wouldn't be able to move. So I would have had to wait till the following summer, because I didn't want to move my daughter during the year. And so that's what my why was. It was get healthy for my daughter. And then when I realized, oh, this could be a business, that's when I was like, okay, I have 7 months to make this full time so that I can do this. And that's when I really started hustling. And there's days that I put my daughter to sleep and I, just wanted to go to bed. I was working full time and I had my daughter. And I also watched my nieces and nephews all the time during the day. So I would be tired, but my why was so big that even if I got 2 or 3 hours of sleep, I felt good about it, because I knew I'm building this business to be able to go. And you won't always be able to control, your other diamonds, who's pushing and who's not, but you can control what you're doing in your business. You can control your income going up every single month, because you know what you have to do to make your income go up. That's help more people. And the more that you focus on what you can do, and if you have coaches that you get bummed out about and you're like, they're not pushing, or they don't want to hit emerald, or they lost their emerald. You want to keep helping those coaches, but you also want to remember, run with the people that want to run, and don't force anyone. If someone is, just sitting on it, then figure out a way you can do it, because you don't want to miss out on stuff, and you don't want to stop building because you're spending all of your time, focusing on the negative. If someone isn't going fast enough, that's okay. It's not going to be that way for everyone. You're going to have coaches. I'm a 5-star coach, but I've lost one girl that was almost diamond. She was one coach away from diamond, and one of my other diamonds had quit. So even when you think in this business, you're like, once you get to diamond, I would think no one quits, because that's like, heck yeah, now I'm going. And you will still have people that quit. That is just how the business is, because people can get there, but you still have to be consistent. And there's nothing that changes. It's that you have to keep doing your power hour, and now you're just helping your team more and your team's bigger. But you're still going to be doing the same things every day, working out, doing your personal development, drinking your shake, and helping your team. And with purpose, when you run your challenge group, so first, when you're trying to hit Success Club, if you're thinking of it just as hitting Success Club, yes, we all want to do that, because that is how you grow your business. But the other thing is, you want to know, what is the purpose? Why do you want to help these people? Why are you reaching out to this person? Did you think that, maybe they needed the financial part? Did you think that they needed the community? What did you feel like you could do for them? Because when you are trying to hit Success Club, if you're looking at it just as Success Club 5 or Success Club 10, or getting your numbers on that board, and you're not looking at why you want it and the purpose why you want it, it's not going to drive you, because you're going to be like, okay, well, I'll hit it next month. But if you have an actual purpose and reason why it's so important to you, maybe it's because you really want this business and you are going to do anything it takes to get it. And like, that's how I was. I was willing to do whatever it took to hit Success Club. And that was what my purpose was. And my purpose then from there was to help those people lose weight, because the best way to help people in this journey, and even in getting coaches, is to help them see results, get their mindset right, get their weight down or toned or whatever they're trying to do, but know the person. So once you nail down Success Club, or you get anyone and they sign up with you, don't just write them off and be like, okay, well, I hit Success Club, now on to the next month. You want to make sure once they become your challenger, ask them, why are they here? What do they want out of the group? And what is their purpose for being in this group? Because everyone's is going to be a little different. And the more you get your challengers to open up to you and to believe in you and trust in you, the easier the communication is. I tell my challengers always, be honest. If you are struggling, then let me know. There was a night that I had cooked a healthy dinner for whatever reason. It was something super simple, like some Pinterest recipe. And I thought I was so prepared. And it took like 2.5 hours and it was still not done cooking. Like our stove was messed up or something. So after 2.5 hours, I just gave up and was like, okay, can we just go buy frozen pizzas? And we just got frozen pizzas that night. But I shared that in my challenge group and I got such an awesome response from it because people were like, thank you. Like, I'm so happy to hear that, like, it's not always perfect for you. And it's not always just like every single meal is planned and blah, blah, blah. Because as much as we plan, you do have, stuff where you go out or you have something that comes up and it switches your plans. Letting your challengers know that it's okay. Their purpose for being in your challenge group, I guarantee if you really ask them, like, hey, what's your purpose? None of them are going to say, to be perfect, because that's not realistic. And no one's in your challenge group to be perfect. They're there because typically a lot of my challengers want the community, but they're also feeling crappy about themselves and they don't have the confidence and they're struggling with the eating or the meal planning or the consistency with working out. All the stuff that we all struggled with are the same things they're struggling with. And if you don't know their purpose for being in that group, then you can't really hands-on help them. Because if you're just sharing about, we like plan out our posts a lot. If you're only sharing on those certain things and maybe the purpose that someone was there needed something a little extra, well, you might not end up hitting on it in the group. So always find out, why are you here and what do you need out of this group? What is your purpose behind this? And then let them know, what is your purpose for running the group? Are you just running it to hit Success Club or are you running it to change someone's life? And if you're going to change their life, what is the purpose behind that? Because it's physical and there's also the mental part of it. And in a group, when people leave, you want them to have both parts of that. You want them to walk away feeling like, oh my gosh, I had so much accountability and support and loving the community. You want them to feel all of that. And a lot of mind stuff, you can look in the mirror and tell yourself, like, every day. I know I do right now because I'm trying to grow my hair and it never grows. But I'll look in the mirror and everyone has like long, beautiful hair. And I'm like, why is my hair so ugly? Like, I drink my shake every day. It should be gorgeous. But you want to know that, like, when people are looking in the mirror, a lot of the women in your group, I don't typically have men in my group, but a lot of the women in the group are feeling crappy when they look in the mirror. So even though their results might be awesome or they might be dropping in pounds, they need the reassurance. They need to know how much you care and really get the support from you, because that's what's going to drive them to keep going and keep going. I have a girl who shared her year results yesterday on her Facebook, one of my coaches, and I actually hadn't seen it in forever. She didn't want to share it, and I was like, just do it. And I didn't even know how big the difference would be. And it was crazy how much weight she has lost, and just the two totally different people, like the different body that is in just from a year. And so to get her to share that and know that, like, these groups are really doing that for her is amazing. And her whole purpose for wanting to be in the group was to lose weight, but it was also to gain her confidence again. She also struggled with how she felt about herself and the way she was with being a mom. She just felt like she didn't have energy anymore. Like, she was, dealing with her daughter all the time and working full time and is married and cleaning and doing all that stuff, that she really didn't feel like she had a purpose. And now she's a completely different person, because she wakes up and she writes what her purpose is that day. And whether it's a mom duty or a work duty or beach body, she has a purpose for waking up every day. And part of that purpose is she gets to change lives. She gets to work on her own and help people that are struggling with the same stuff. So knowing your why and having it be so big, and break it down. You guys keep asking yourself when you're like, hey, well, my why is to help people. Well, why do you want to help people? Because people struggle with confidence. Well, why do they struggle with confidence? Keep asking yourself why and why and why. And I promise by the time you get to the end where you can't go any further, that's when it's going to be where you're crying because your why is so important to you. When I really talk about my why to my team, I still always cry about it because it's so emotional to me and it's so in my heart that it's a big deal to me. And no matter what happens when I lose coaches or diamonds, or when I'm pushing and something doesn't happen the way I wanted it to go, my why is what keeps me here. And my purpose is so much bigger than if I miss a rank cutoff, or if I finish first in the company or 500 in the company, whatever. That part is not the part that really gives me my purpose for being here. My purpose for being here is to be the best I can be and really help other women change their lives and be a completely different person than how they came in, and be confident in who they are and have energy to play with their kids. So my purpose and my why, those two together, no matter what, on a bad day, and you're going to have bad days. You're going to have days you wake up and look in your back office and you're like, oh, I thought I was Emerald and now I just lost 2 coaches, or I'm almost Diamond and 4 are inactive. That is just part of this business. You have to keep pushing through those. But if you don't have a strong enough why and you don't have a purpose for waking up every day, it's easy to skip out on those things. Because if you wake up and you're just like, okay, I'm going to wake up, and then you're going to maybe get in the shower and go to work, and then you might fit Beachbody in when you have time. If that's how you go your day, you're setting your business up the same exact way. If you haven't read Miracle Morning, I highly recommend reading it. It's an awesome book, but it totally is a mindset changer for you and makes you realize, like, wake up, have that purpose. When you get in the shower, know that you owned that shower, that you did something that is going to make your day better, because just waking up with no purpose and just winging your whole day is going to be winging your whole business, and you're not going to grow as strongly and as fast as someone who has a purpose for being here. And I think that's basically it. Sorry, and I'm probably talking so fast.
No, that was great. I literally just took so many notes from what you were saying. It's so crazy because I feel like I hear this stuff all the time, and I know that I definitely preach it all the time, but it's definitely nice to hear it from somebody else again too. And I like the way that you really put a different spin on the why. I don't know if you guys can back me up on that. Like, you guys really put like you put like a completely different like view on what the why is, in my opinion, that I haven't heard before, which I thought was really cool, because I think that I hope that everybody on this team knows why they're here about this point. I hope that they have like a strong reason why. And I love how you said kind of peel back those layers, because that is so extremely important. Because I got to the point where, in my why, where I was like stuck for a little bit, and I was like, why am I not feeling inspired? Like, why am I not feeling like I should be showing up every day? And it shows that like it really goes down to why you're here. And be honest, like by a show of hands, like how many of you kind of like feel like you're in a rut with the business? When's the last time you guys have sat back and really figured out why you're here to make you inspired to show up every single day? And I'm not saying like sitting back and like being like, oh, well, yeah, I want to make $100 a week. Like, when's the last time you guys have really sat back and said like, this is why I'm here? Because I loved how, Jessie, you connected it to the purpose. Because like, I love how you just like, if we don't wake up with a purpose, like what are we doing? If we don't have a reason for doing this every single day, then what are we doing? Like, there's a reason, in my opinion, that some coaches are so successful in this and some coaches are not. And the coaches that are the ones that show up every single day, like knowing why they need to do what they do every day. So I love that. I love how you said, just like give yourself I love how you have your team like write down their purpose every day. I think that's really, really cool. I'm going to adopt that for sure. I'm going to put a journal.
And I think it's just helpful because you need to have a purpose no matter what it is. Like I said, it doesn't need to be just Beachbody related every day, because you're balancing your whole life. And I don't think any of you guys are probably doing this to just only be Beachbody. You're probably doing this because you want a better life for your family and for yourself and for your kids. And all of that stuff ties into it. So you want to have a purpose every single day and know like, hey, what do I need to do better today? Or what do I want to accomplish today? And know that you can stick by it then, because each day, just those little things are going to make you feel like, okay, I won that day. I did what I wanted to do today, and now go into the next day. And simple things like I had one day, all of my team, I said like, when you go to the grocery store, say hi to people. And everyone did it. It was just like a little challenge. And so they did it, and one of the girls had gone into a store. She was in like like a, I don't know if it was like a GNC or one of those kinds of stores. And so she said hi to someone. Well, the girl actually did not speak, and she was deaf. And so she obviously didn't speak, but she knew sign language. And the girl, started to do sign language, and this other girl didn't know sign language. So she ended up, I think she like recorded it and sent it to someone and asked them like, what's she trying to say? And they ended up going back and forth in the conversation because she took the time to like work with this girl in the store. And I mean, she knew nothing about sign language. She literally could have like not done anything, not acknowledged the girl. And instead she took the time to like help this girl in the GNC and give the girl what she needed. And they ended up figuring it out. And the girl ended up giving her a hug at the end. And I heard that story, and it like made me so excited for something, because those little things that we forget in life, that little thing was something not necessarily Beachbody related, but it changed my coach's whole entire day. And it gave her a different outlook when she sees people now. And she's totally different because of that. So this business gives you those little things, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not only supposed to help with the fitness and with working out, but also implying it when you're out in the world, when you're out just at things. You don't have to be like, hey, join my team, or hey, join my challenge group, but just be nice, be kind, and get to know the people around you. Smile at people, say hi to people, do those little things every day. And you're going to remember, hey, this is why I'm here. This community makes me better just by those little things that you're doing that have nothing to do with working out or drinking a shake. It's just the community that's helping you be better. And your why is going to change. Like, you're going to have time. So if you start feeling like, I've gotten to points too, like Kelsey was saying, where you get to a point and you're like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing? I'm getting sick of inviting and I'm not hitting Success Club. And you start feeling like a failure. Those are all totally normal. But a lot of times it's because your why started to change and you haven't revisited it. So you don't know like what your why really is anymore, because maybe your why was to help 3 people and you did that. So now you're just, sitting and rocking out the rest of the month. And you need your why to be something that's important that you go back to and say, okay, I'm doubting myself. So where's my why at, and where can I improve? Because that's the thing that's going to drive you. And until you take the time to do that, you're going to keep going down, and you don't want that to happen. So for the ones that raise their hand, make sure you go and figure out your why and really keep asking yourself, why are you here? What's your purpose for being here? And dig deep for it. Don't just do it quick and be like, okay, it's done. But dig deep until you feel so much emotion inside you that you couldn't imagine not being here.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions for Jessie? Anything that you want to ask, or any comments? Nothing? Everybody's quiet?
Oh, and for those of you guys who are moms, just finding the balance. So a lot of people are like, oh, I can fit it in. I will definitely tell you there's still days that I struggle with like work, and like the reason I did this was to be home with my daughter, so I don't want to be on the phone the whole time. And when I was pushing for Elite, I can say I was on my phone so much, and it sucked because I didn't want to do that. We kind of didn't push until way late in the game. So if you're going to push for Elite this year, push early on and be in it, all in it in the beginning. But balance your time. Figure out like what you can do in the business, and also know it's totally normal for your phone to go off. And like, I have to put my phone in my room now. Like, once my daughter gets home at 3, we put it down, because otherwise when it goes off, if I see it's someone who wants to order, I'm like, okay, wait, let me just respond really quick. She just needs the link. And it's never just the link. It's like, hey, now what kind of shake? And now what kind of this? And what kind of that? And then you end up taking up a half an hour of your time. And if you're not balancing it out and having, your family time and your coaching time, your family ends up getting unhappy, and you're going to start getting unhappy because you're going to feel like all I do is sit on my phone. So really know that if someone's going to be in your challenge group and they really want to work with you, then let them, if they have to wait, like have business hours. If they have to wait, they have to wait, because you can't be on your phone every second or you're going to not have a life. And that's when you start to really make it, then it starts feeling like a job.
Yeah, that's like the worst thing in the world, is if it starts feeling like a job.
Yeah, because then you hate it and you're like, okay, I don't want to even do my workout or do anything.
Yeah, and like I think that's the biggest thing, is like I was telling them yesterday, I just feel like it's so important to remember that this was like fun. We also came into this because we wanted something fun in our lives, and I feel like somewhere along the way we get it entangled with like entrepreneurship, and we're all of a sudden just like all up in arms about it because we're trying to grow this thing so much. But at the end of the day, like if we go back to what Jessie was saying about our why and having a purpose every day, it's going to be fun. It's so fun. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now in April, and this is still fun to me to like get the transformations in my inbox and to respond to these messages and to help people get started. Like it's really fun to me. And if it gets to the point where it's not fun, it's time to really go back and reevaluate.
Yeah, because you don't want it to feel like this is not fun. And typically that's when you start feeling that way, it comes off too. And it comes off in your invites and the way you're doing stuff. If it's feeling like a job and you're inviting because you have to hit Success Club and you have no purpose or why behind it, that's when it really just feels like a job, because you're not doing it because you're passionate about it. You're doing it because you feel like you have to. And that's not going to drive you. At that, you might be able to hit it for a few months, but eventually you're going to get to the point that you're like, okay, I'm sick of this. So know your why, know your purpose, and really just let that be your drive the entire time, because these products work, and your support in your community in these challenge groups, it's going to change people's lives. I can tell you just from 2 years of coaching, a lot of my coaches now and challengers now are people who said no to me numerous times before. And I'm a perfect example of, I said no to the girl. And I mean, I knew her and had known her for a long time. She asked me to coach. I said no. And 4 years later, a complete stranger asked me, and I connected with that girl and was like, okay. And it was right for me at that time. So when people say no and we're like, oh, recheck in with them, really just recheck in with them and say, hey girl, I'm starting my next challenge group. I know you were interested before, and I just wanted to let you know if you still have those goals that you want to hit, or something so simple. But let her know you're thinking about her. If she ignores you, who cares? It doesn't even matter. You're here to change lives, and you're going to work with whoever wants you and whoever really wants to do this. You don't want to have to force someone to do this. You want them to be just as excited as you are. But so you guys know, in your challenge groups, always make sure you are checking in. You're doing all the things you're asking them. In my challenge groups, we do high and lows that they have to answer to. So they have to log 7 Shakeologies. They have to tell me their favorite move of the day just from their workouts. We're all doing different programs. And like, obviously, like in CNA Max 30 is only a 5-day program. Some, 21-day fix is 7 days. So it's just log one, or tell us what one of your favorite workout moves was. And then they have to tell me their high and low every single day. And the reason I do that is totally because the community in my challenge groups, I want them to interact with each other. And if they're only logging their shakes and exercises, they aren't going to bond with each other. They're going to just all keep doing that, which is awesome, but they're not getting the community part of it. And that's what's going to change people's lives, is that little part. So they do their high and low, and then they have to comment on 3 people in the group. So and it's crazy to see, like a high and low can be about anything too. Whatever happened in their day, one good, one high and one low. And when people write their lows, so many people go and support them and comment. And majority of the time in my challenge groups, they end up doing more than 3 people, because if there's a ton of people having a bad day or, awesome things going on in people's lives, they all start commenting and getting super involved. So if you guys don't do that in your challenge groups, it's definitely something that's helpful. I only make them do high and lows 5 days a week, just because on weekends I typically know like people are busy and want to do that stuff. But definitely that's a good way to get the whole community involved in that challenge group and really figure out ways. Like I add in PM challenges every once in a while. So once a week I'll say, do an extra 100 jumping jacks tonight with a family member. One day I had everyone do a plank and ask someone at their job to do a plank with them. And literally I had a hairdresser as a coach, and she got all the hairdressers one day to all do a plank like before they opened. And so they all did planks together. But doing those little challenges in the group, give them something extra than just that program. And it shows like, hey, you're here, you're excited, you're having fun, and you're invested in them. Because if you're just in the challenge group and you're like, okay, here's my shake, here's my workout, like, this is so fun, it's not really coming off as fun to them. You need to be so excited in those pictures, be excited about what they write, and then give them extra things. Whatever you can give to them, that's just you having fun is going to help your group so much. And that's what really drives the community in those groups so that people keep checking in and keep going. I run all my groups through the Tracker app, but I always put them in a message thread on Facebook too. If they have Facebook, not everyone does. So I do that too. So that way I will literally send them like a quote in there, and then I do my regular posts in there. But usually I'll like send a motivational quote, or, you know, tonight I'll like talk to them randomly about what I'm having for dinner. But it's just a good way to like kind of spark a conversation between everyone too. And then that way I also have my group that is like the basis of everything.
That's awesome. That's just like another way of going like above and beyond, which I think is super awesome. That's the foundation of this. It's just those challenge groups. It's those challengers. And we all started there, right? Every single one of us here started as a challenger. And that's kind of what we have to remember. I just feel like so often I was saying earlier, I don't know who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody earlier and I said, I remember literally like every time I get on a call with a new coach, it's like my fire gets relit. Like every time I do a Get Started Right call, because they are so freaking excited. They're like so on fire. They're so ready to change lives. They just got their first transformation. They're so on fire. And I'm like, and then 3 or 4 months go down the road, and then all of a sudden it's like womp, womp, womp. Because all of a sudden you lose that. And it's like you said, I mean, from the very beginning, it's like our purpose is to live healthy and fulfilling lives. Then our purpose is to help others do it. And then to keep that chain effect going. And if we look at it in that sense and we go above and beyond, like Jessie's saying, and like our challenge groups and make them fun. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like when I take selfies for my challenge groups, I look like ridiculous in all of them. Like all the time, I just make it look like I'm having the best time of my life during my workouts. And I really feel like, and like, I want to encourage them to feel comfortable doing that kind of stuff too. So remember that, like, remember that time, like, when you remember that first call when you had with your coach, when you were like kind of totally petrified, but you were also like really excited for this new chapter in your life. Like that's the way you should feel every single day in your business, every single day. And I don't know. I just loved it. I got so many takeaways from this, Jessie. Thank you.
You're welcome. And also remember to think about what your long-term goal is. Because at first you are going to be, you know, hitting Success Club and doing all of that. But it does take time. You're growing a business the same as if you went and opened a clothing shop. You would have to brand yourself and get your name out there. So know that it's going to take time. And if you're not seeing a huge amount of income right away, just keep working on yourself and keep inviting. Like it's all going to fall into place. You can't ever fail in this business unless you quit, unless you give up on yourself and you stop sharing and inviting. But if you just keep like, when you struggle, dig deeper and are like, hey, I'm going to do this. I know what I want, where I want to be in 4 years. You know, I have goals that are 4-year goals and 5-year goals from when I started that are huge goals. You know, like I want to bring my fiance home from work. That was a huge goal. That was not a goal that was like, okay, that can happen in a year. So make sure that you have those big goals too, that remind you like, okay, I'm doing this now because in a few years, like, I know my life's going to be completely different. It's crazy to think that I just went on a retreat and I have only been coaching 2 years. It was my 3rd retreat, but to think like how different I am as a person, and even watching like newer coaches, because I was one of my coaches, first like coaches, she was 6 months in, but to see all the people that she has brought on who I have watched like start and then turn into the person they are now, is so amazing, because I've been on different retreats with them and it's like each time you go on one with them, they are different and they're happier and they're loving and they're just like so much more excited about life and so much more confident in who they are. And it just inspires you to go home and even do more, because you're like, I don't know why every person in the world is not doing this job, because it truly changes the person that you are. So always just focus on yourself and know, even if you're struggling income-wise or hitting Success Club, you can do it. Just don't give up on yourself and keep pushing.
This was fantastic. I got so many nuggets. I hope you guys did too. All right. Anybody have any last minute questions or any last things for Jessie? All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys so much.
And good luck speaking at your upcoming Super Saturday. Congratulations on that. And I will see you next Wednesday. And team, I will also see you guys next Wednesday. You guys have a good rest of your week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.